feel like you could have a very strong case in our modern day and age with all the wonderful technology we have that Christianity, while it might make you happier in previous ages when it's so miserable and people are starving and dying, that it would maximize your happiness with that hope. But today, we're relatively content in our lives, and the restrictions, moral restrictions that atheism puts on your life might in fact decrease your happiness. Possibly. I don't know. So definitely it's essential to you that it's actually true. Do you see what I mean? Like
Yes. Yes.
So if I don't believe it's true, I guess it's a no-brainer to you to put your faith in him, but for me, who doesn't believe it's true, it's not really so easy.
Okay, so what do you believe is so reliable that you should trust it ultimately? Yourself, right?
At the moment, yeah, I'm looking.
Okay, but what's the evidence that points to you being that trustworthy, that credible?
Well, at least I know I exist. I'm pretty sure I exist.
Good.
I mean...
I agree.
So that's as far as I've gotten, I guess. I mean...
Yeah, but does not your existence point to the existence of God?
Some people think so. I'm not so sure.
Why are you not so sure?
Because, I mean, everyone's heard the Big Bang Theory. So if you ask this question, why are there trees, why are there so many people here who are living in really complicated, it seems improbable, but I guess maybe my logic is bad, but that doesn't seem, to my mind, to necessitate something larger. So that was a little vague.
All right, how about this one? Beaver dams. Point to beavers, Macon. Golden Gate Bridge, no beavers. Built that thing. The complexity of the design demands some human brains behind it. Universe, far more complex than the Golden Gate Bridge.
I've thought about that argument, but I think you could also argue that the universe is simpler than the universe plus God. So in fact, by introducing God, you're making it more complex. Does that make sense? So you're
you really
saying
believe that?
Yeah. I mean, where did God come from? What explains how he acts? What are his motives? That seems like that brings a lot more complexities into addition to the world.
No, because the universe is not eternal. The universe has a beginning. Therefore, the universe has to have a cause.
Well,
God is an eternal being. There's no needed cause for God. God's an uncaused cause, but the universe obviously is not uncaused because it has a beginning. It has to have a cause.
I mean, I feel like. Okay, just to make sure I understand your argument, you're saying, okay, the world has a beginning.
Right.
All things that have a beginning must have a cause.
Correct.
Here's God. He doesn't have a beginning.
Correct.
So that's simple. Well, why can't we just say the world didn't have a beginning?
Because the Big Bang shows us the universe does have a beginning.
I don't know if it's that simple. I think the Big Bang could be a little more complicated in that it says there is no time. Like time itself. Once all the matter's in one. I mean, I don't really understand relativity and all that stuff, but it seems possible that at least time itself didn't even exist. And if that's the case, then any causal argument like that might not hold as much water, because it's essentially your argument that all things that have a beginning must have a cause.
Mm-hmm.
But what does a beginning mean if time doesn't even exist?
Well, it very simply means the universe is not eternal. The universe has a beginning, the Big Bang. And that's what drove Einstein out of pantheism into theism. And he didn't like it either. He introduced the fudge factor into his mathematical equations to try and disprove the Big Bang. Because Einstein saw very clearly, if the Big Bang is true, there's got to be a cause. There's got to be a creator. There's got to be some type of theistic God.
Yeah, I'm not aware with Einstein's beliefs, but...
Yeah, but it's very logical. Everything that has a beginning has a cause. The universe has a beginning, therefore the universe has a cause. Design demands a designer. Moral absolutes demand a moral lawgiver.
Definitely agree with that.
Well, then you should be a theist, right?
well, no. I mean, you still
Why
haven't,
not?
You still haven't convinced me that the world necessarily has a beginning, or even that it
Well,
means.
forget about that, okay? Because guess what?
That's
If
essential.
tomorrow,
How can you forget about it?
no, because it's just one piece of evidence. That's all.
Okay, well,
I'm just
it's
following
essential
evidence.
to that argument, I guess. So, what's another argument?
Well, no, we finally found one you agree with me on. All right? So you agree that there's some moral absolutes, and therefore there's got to be a moral lawgiver, right?
Well, no.
Oh, shoot.
No, sorry. If there are moral absolutes, there certainly is something to give it. I'm not
Okay, good.
agreeing that there are moral absolutes.
Oh, you don't think there are?
Not without a God, no.
No,
That's
I mean,
one reason I want to
do you
believe in
think there
God.
are moral absolutes?
No.
No? When is the abuse of an innocent child ever good?
I'm not. That's a little bit different. I mean, no. Our conception of what good is certainly defined, at least in some extent, in our world and the way our world is put together. Like it's painful. It's not only there's lots of biological reasons why that seems like a bad thing, and it also presupposes that there is certain value in humans. Like there's an actual being in a human that makes it wrong when you damage it.
Yeah.
But if you believe that we're all just materialists, like bundles of atoms, with the innocent child dying or being killed or whatever.
Yes.
So for that to be wrong, there has to be some meaning associated with that particular group of atoms we call a child.
Good.
Now, but you're assuming that, like, a materialist, which would probably coincide, someone who believes the beliefs I've been presenting would probably be a materialist. And someone who believes that everything is just atoms and matter, and that consciousness is some complicated physical law, just the connection of atoms in the particular way created that.
Right.
There isn't any inherently, like, morally better thing about a child than a rock, if that's what you believe. I mean, it is unfortunate in our society it paints this functional moral standard out of what works well for us, but that doesn't necessitate in my mind a moral absolute there.
Okay.
Because it's unfortunate, and I'm not saying it's a pleasant thing. I mean, I believe in functional moral standards, but as far as saying it's absolutely wrong, I don't know if that means anything if it's just atoms.
All right. Do you believe that a child has innate value?
See, I want to. I really, really want to.
Why? Why do you want to?
It's built into me. Maybe it's my biology. I don't know.
Okay.
Hey, oh no, you can't do that.
What do you mean I can't?
Well, because you're assuming the only explanation for me wanting to is God. But
No. What I'm assuming is you're onto something, friend. You're absolutely right. That little child has innate value. And doesn't your experience of life validate that day in and day out?
Well,
see, I'm appealing to your experience. I'm not saying God is not right in the issue, right in the equation right now. I'm appealing to your experience. Isn't there an innate part of you, that you experience every day when you come in contact with a child that says, yes, that little child has intrinsic value?
Absolutely. I want to have kids. I love kids.
Good.
I mean,
I'm with you. Okay, now, is it not possible that innate understanding that child has intrinsic value, where does that come from? Is that speaking the truth to you or not?
See, I think this is just another case of where you begin kind of dictates where you end, because you're beginning with this belief in God.
No. No. Let's begin with the child.
Okay, with the child, I would say it's possible. It seems to me that it's possible that my evolution and my behavioral instincts make me want to see an inherent value, where in reality it is just a bag of matter, no different than a rock.
Okay, and now you got to make your decision. And your decision has to be either that child has innate value, or it's just a bag of rock. So how are you going to live? What decision are you going to make?
See, what I want to make the one decision, but it seems to me it's not good to make logical decisions based off of what you want.
Okay, I agree. But isn't there something more to that? When you're confronted by a child and you say, you know something? That child has innate value. and there's something deep within me that's driving me to realize that, isn't it good to say, wow, this is pretty important? This is not, you know, do you like Coke or Fresca? This is, you know, is this a bag of rock, or is this a human being with innate value? I mean, you know, how do you live your life, right? I mean, how are you going to treat that child?
I mean, I feel like I'd just be repeating myself. I mean, once again, I want to believe that it has innate value, but it doesn't seem logically to me. The rational part of my being doesn't present any good reason to believe.
Okay. All right.
That's unfortunate, and I respect Christianity a lot.
Does this make sense to you? One of the reasons that I am not an atheist is because I meet very, very few atheists who can live it out consistently. So if you can't live your belief out consistently, shouldn't that force you to go back and question, hey, you know something, is my belief true? See, if I would not be a follower of Christ if as I go through life, the teachings of Christ didn't begin to make more and more sense to me. For instance, Rousseau, right? Jean-Jacques Rousseau. Babies are born perfect. It's just society that corrupts them. Rousseau has his nanny deposit 5 of his babies on the doorstep of the hospital, disowning him. He could not live out what he thought. He was confronted by the frailty and fickleness of little kids. He lost his temper. He didn't have time for them. Don't you have to, if you say you believe something, try and live it out? And then in trying to live out whatever it is you say you believe, if you find it just doesn't square with reality, it's just not true, don't you have to then start saying, gosh, maybe I should switch and believe something else? I respect Camus, Sartre, Nietzsche, right? They're atheists. And they say, okay, because there is no God, despair is the only logical conclusion. And Camus says, you know, the only question modern man must answer is why not commit suicide? Okay, I respect that. Those guys are taking seriously what they believe. I have almost no intellectual respect for the guy who says, no God, but that little child, really significant. What do you mean, really significant? No.
Yeah,
it's not really significant.
From the other side of the wall, it's the same reason no one respects crusaders or all, you know, the classic examples. It's
Good.
The same thing from the other direction.
Exactly. Absolutely. We do not respect the Crusaders for slaughtering people in the name of Christ. Absolutely correct. We don't respect the white Christians who beat up on their black slaves during the week and then they brought them to church on Sunday. No respect. Hypocrisy. Good. So I wouldn't be a follower of Christ if Jesus had said, love everybody, and if he'd whooped up on people. Right? Inconsistent. Hypocrisy. I wouldn't follow him. No way would I follow him.